Hi everybody, welcome to Carnation Crafts TV. I'm Laura. We have Bunny next door. Now we are so excited to be back with you again today. Now yesterday, if you missed any of the shows, we introduced you to our Beautiful Bundles collection that you can see here. Now this was so popular yesterday. By the time we got to the start of the third show yesterday, we were approaching 60% of the stock of this had gone. So it's been a very, very popular collection. You do get so much in here, and they are big dies that you get in here. Now the item number on this is 250401, and it is on a show price of $99.99 for you, and that will go back up a Friday at midnight on Friday, and you do get your free P&P with this as well. So great opportunity to add in your glue and any of your essentials and your pro print and things like that as well. Now you can see you've got your stacked shapes in here, which I will show you samples of this because I think the samples really show you a lot more than what that does, because there's so many ways of using them. You've got two card shapes there, but then you've got mats and layers there as well to make apertures into these. Use them as just mats and layers on your cards. There's just so many different ways of using them. You've got your delivered safely with your envelopes and your wax seals and your stamp. You've got your babies first there as well, so you can see you've got your little nod there to baby cards. You've got your capture the moment, which I adore this one because you've got two different size frames there, and your stand and the corner bits there to go on there. And then we've got our elemental blooms, which are just, I think they're the most realistic bouquet that I've ever seen. They are such beautifully designed, the colours in them and the attention to detail. But I will show you everything on the boards so you can see exactly what it is that you get in this collection. So to start off with, we have babies first. Now I kept saying yesterday, this to me, even though he looks so adorable, he almost looks like antique-y as well. So I think you could use them for, like, you know, I know Dave was saying in the show yesterday, he's still got his teddy from when he was a baby in the Arctic, and you could use it for things like that as well, not just baby cards. They could be first or second birthday as well, you know, obviously newborns as well, they are perfect. You've got the rattle there, and you've got those two little baby boots that I think are absolutely adorable, and the blanket there as well. So a lovely grounding element there to build that scene up. Then we go on to delivered safely. So you've got your, now this can be used in lots of different ways, and I will show you on the samples. They've used it as a card. So you could use it as a card. You could use it as a gift card that goes into the pin onto the bouquet of flowers. Same with the tag and the oval there. So lots of different ways of using that. Then you've got your stack of envelopes there. You've got your envelope here, and you can see that's got that wax seal on, so you could place the stamp coordinating in with that one. Then we go on to our florals. So like I said, these are so pretty. And what I love about this is you've got the petals on the bottom. So it's like that, I said yesterday, it was like the most realistic bouquet. Like you come downstairs in the morning and you can see you've got petals or like a flower head there. It just, they look real, and they are, there's so much detail in them. You can see by the time you get in and use your artwork, use your dies, they are so pretty. Look at that. They're so pretty. Now you also get, so this is the daffodil one. Now you also get the decoupage there for the daffodil. But you can also see you have mat and layer for each one. So if you wanted to, you could use this mat to actually make into a card. So you could use this as a card because these are quite big on their own. They are very nice size bouquets just on their own. So you could also use these for your cards as well. Then we go on to, now Bunny might be the person to know this. So on the website, this says Daisy. But Dave was arguing me it was a gerbera. So I just stuck with Daisy, and I was calling it a daisy all day yesterday. So Bunny is going to find out for us. So we've got this, now this is a bigger one as well, but you can see, look at the colours you have in here. You've got those light pinks, you've got those dark pinks and those lovely orangey yellows in there with the white as well. Really, really pops. And I love the stacked look on that book. And you can see it's, again, just realistic. It's not perfectly straight. It's just that realistic image that you've just popped there with those petals and those flowers there on the bottom. And again, you do have your mat and layer, so if you wanted to make this into a card on its own, you could absolutely do that. They are daisies. There we go, we're sticking with daisies one. And then, and I knew this one, these are tulips. I knew this. So we've got our tulips next, and this one, you've got the bow there on the handle. I think this is just such a pretty one. You have so much detail in there, and I love with this one that it flows. You can just see the flow in those florals. How pretty. Like, look how delicate. Even just the foliage on the outside, they're so pretty. And honestly, when you get them home and you look at them and you cut them out, you see so much detail in these. Look, I mean, look at all those detail lines that you have in there. Really, really good. And again, you have that mat and layer to go with. Right, then we go on to our stacked shapes. Now, there's so many different ways that you can use these, and I've tried to use them in different ways when I've gone in and done demos with these. So you can use them as a card base. So you could just use it as a card base if you want to, because you do have the flat part at the bottom of each of these, so they'll stand up perfectly. You know, you can also use them just as mats and layers, but you can see, look how much dimension you get adding in those matte layers. Now these, you can see there on this one that we did, these matte layers will still fit in the two other circles, and they will all fit in the other two as well. So you could essentially add those matte layers in each section and just keep adding layers, and then you've got your card. You could also place these into those circles and make them into apertures. So there's so many different ways of using these. To me, this is like your essential one, because you're going to think of different ways of using them every time you use them. And then we go on to our frames. I love these. These corner pieces are so ornate. They look amazing. Oh, I'm going to grab one so you can see. Look at that. Look how detailed those are. They are so pretty. Can you imagine? One of the things I was saying yesterday, can you imagine popping the florals around the side with a sentiment in, and, you know, gifting that to somebody who's in hospital because you can't take flowers in? They are absolutely lovely. If you do memory books, if you do scrapbook albums, I think these are going to be an essential one to get. Now you do have the larger one and the smaller one as well, and you can see you have the different sizes. These at the back, so that's the actual stand that will support it, just like a photo frame, to hold itself up. So you can see, or even popping it onto a card, you can do things like that, or the smaller one, just so you can see the difference there in that one. So they are absolutely, again, an essential. But let's go through some of the design team samples so you can see how the design team have used these. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'm just going to show you quickly the perfect papers, because you'll see these in all of the samples the design team have done. So you've got a lovely shade of pink, cream, yellow, greens in here. Now you do get the stripe and the dotted pattern, but you can see it is a lovely colour palette, and it doesn't matter what florals you pull in with this. Like you can see the flowers there, they're going to work perfectly. They are your perfect papers as well. So you're going to get 48 sheets, 300 GSM on that, and then that is 250408, which is $14.99. But obviously if you add that into the bundle, you're going to get that free P&P on that one. So let's now look at that. So that's using the stacked shapes, but you can see as an aperture. So that's been cut into the cardstock instead of using it as a card. So a completely different way of using it. bringing in the elemental blooms and bringing in the baby first there as well. And then look at that. How cute is that? And do you know the lovely thing with these? You can use them portrait, you can use them landscape, and you could make one of those like photo frames, you know, when they all go in different shapes. You can add lots of different things in that, but that is just so cute and such a lovely gift to give to somebody as well. So you can see they're using the frame, using the babies first, and bringing in some of the flowers in that as well. And then, oh, look at that. Do you know what Bunny's just said in my ear? I know you're going to say Christmas card, but you know, looking at that in gold, doesn't it scream Christmas? See? Oh, you could do your Christmas name settings with the smaller one. And you could just put like a little, change the teddy for a little Christmas die, a poinsettia there or something. Oh, you could put a little Christmas hat on the teddy. Oh, that's so cute. Oh. Can you tell I'm excited for Christmas? Yeah, but we always do Christmas in summer. So it's like as soon as the sun comes out, it's like, oh, Christmas is coming. Look, so this is a lovely way of showing you. Fiona's done this one, and that is such a nice way of showing how you can use the mats and layers of the florals to actually make the card base itself. And you can see that is still a substantial card that you have in there. So you're getting so much in there. Look at the dimension, just using that die on its own. But that looks so impactful. And then I've got another one by Sue. How pretty is that? And yeah, this one you can see you've got the capture the moment. So you've got the eternal blooms, you've got the babies first, you've got the delivered safely. The only thing that's not included in this card is the stack shapes. And you can see how perfectly they just coordinate lovely together. And I love how Sue's used the, it's probably one of the inserts because it looks faded on the image, to actually cut the frame out. How pretty is that? And then we're going to go on. So I've got one here from the stacked shapes. I'm going to try and grab some of the stacked shape ones. So you have different ways of using this. Using those circles. So you can see with that part on the bottom how that will stand up. So you can see different ways of using them. We've got the square one there, which I didn't think of this, but when we were doing the shows yesterday with Dave, and I think it's because of the babies first, but Dave looked at them and said that he thought that, you're going to like this now, Bunny. So Dave looked at them and thought they looked like building blocks, like baby blocks. And then I looked at this one with the bow on and I was like, oh, you could make Christmas cards and they're like Christmas presents stacked on top of each other. But now I've said it, you can see it. See? So you could use it. Imagine that in red and gold with a nice red bow on it, and they look like Christmas presents. Somebody at home is saying, absolutely, Laura, I completely understand where you were going with that. Bunny is not agreeing with me. So if anybody does agree with me at home, please message in and say that you can see the Christmas presents. And then I've got another one here by Pam, and then I've got one more, and we'll go on to our demo. So you can see there. Now, if you caught any of the shows yesterday, or if you've seen some of the samples, I'm going to just show you quickly. We do have, oh, so you can see we do have the delightful DLs. So if you didn't see these yesterday, or maybe you're tuning in today to have a look at these, unfortunately they did sell out. They were super popular and they sold out by the time we got into the third show, we were limited stock yesterday. They completely went. Now, if you are looking at this and thinking, well, why are you showing me this if it's sold out? Now, I am going to be on Hobby Maker on Thursday. So these will be on my 1 p.m. show on Hobby Maker on Thursday. So if you are looking at this and you want to grab these, then I think that they will probably sell out in the first show if yesterday is anything to go by. So if you want to grab these, then you can grab them at 1 o'clock tomorrow on Hobby Maker. Okay, I have got 2 shows tomorrow, so if they don't sell out, they will be on the both shows. And if by any chance they don't sell out on Hobby Maker, then they will be back available at Carnation. But for the minute, Carnation stock is completely sold out. The only way you can get it is tomorrow with me on Hobby Maker. Now, I'm just going to show you quickly, because this is the collection that we are going to be looking at today. This is the Beautiful Bundles collection, so 250401. It is on a show price for you of $99.99, and we are approaching 70% of the stock of this has gone. This again has been such a popular collection, so I would say if you want to grab it before it goes back up to full price on Friday, I would grab it, because we're almost at 70%, and this is our first show of the day, so that's just from yesterday. Right, I'm getting ready to start gluing, and we're going to do some cutting. She was trying to be nice and not shout at me. Right, let's do some cutting. Now, I've got some of the florals. Which floral would you like to see? The daisies. Let's do the daisies on. Right, so we've got our artwork. So now if you're ordering this today, you could be doing this ready for potentially your dies arriving tomorrow. Oh, Bunny, do you know what I've just realised? Do you know what? In my defence, it's here from yesterday, and I was so good yesterday, look, and I had the right glue yesterday. And obviously, yesterday is not today, is it? So now I have the wrong glue. One sec. Have I got a... I haven't even got a win. Oh! Ta-da! Yay! I'm doing well with this. Oh, she's going to treat me to a coffee now because I used the right glue. Right, so now I always say when you're doing your artwork, there is no right or wrong way of doing this, okay? Now, some people will use a spray glue and just go like that, spray the back of it, and then you just fold it in half. I hold it, you're not going to be able to see, but I hold it like that so I can kind of see where the pattern is. Pop some glue on, and then fold it in half. I prefer to use a glue. I am too clumsy and messy and all of the things to use spray glue. I would spray glue on other things more than the paper, so I do not use spray glue. So I just find it's too messy for me. So I'm going to do that. Did I go over the decoupage bit? It will go harder with the glue when it's dry, so I do prefer, but like I said, it's just my preference. There's no, this is the right way of doing it. It's just, this is just my preference of how I prefer to do it. There is no right or wrong. If you get on with doing it with a spray glue, when we were at the NEC, so many people said, I love using spray glue. I find it much quicker. And, I had the equal amount of people coming up to me and saying that they don't like using the spray glue. They do it the same way I do it. So whichever way works for you, do that. Then once you've done that, you're going to pop your dye on. Now you'll see that you're just going to get a bleed line evenly around the edge of it. You're almost framing that dye. And again, some people don't tape the dyes down. I absolutely do. I know the girls at the office here, they don't tape the dyes down. They can just hold it and it magically doesn't move. I watch them sometimes, I'm like, how does it not move? Like sometimes I'll tape it and it'll still slightly move. But so I always tape them, and especially I would always recommend taping them if you're cutting more than one die out, because you don't want those dies to slightly overlap and then they're going to go into each other. So we're going to cut that out, and then you really get all of that detail from the artwork, from all those cut lines in the die. Let's pop this one out. Look at the detail in there. Like, look at them. Isn't it so pretty? I love this one. And it's just, you know, with the pinks and the yellows, it's just such a cheerful looking bunch of flowers. Like, it just makes, I think, you know, the sun is out, the weather's getting nicer, and they're so pretty. But the detail is absolutely amazing. So you can see there. Right, so we've done our cutting. So let's just pop, I'm going to pop this under here a minute, just so it doesn't block when we go back to the other camera. So now we're going to use this. Now what we're going to do, we're going to use the stacked shapes as well, okay? So we're going to use the square. So we've cut two of these out in white. So this is going to be our car base. So I've just scored the top bit, and we're going to glue these together. So I always glue the one that I've scored, so I know where the glue is going. So you can see now that gives us our car shape, and that will stand up because of that flat part in the design. But already, just in white, when you look at that, it draws your eye in because it's so different. It's such a unique shape that you instantly look at it. You're instantly drawn to it. Ooh. So that's our shape there. So we've got our base ready to go. Let's pop that down. So now we're going to go in with our perfect papers. So you can see I've got a dark pink, and I've got the solid of this, so we're going to go in with this nice dark pink. Ah, Bunny's not very happy because Suzanne Page has messaged in agreeing with me that she can see the Christmas presents. Thank you, Suzanne. Oh, now she's saying she can see them. Don't just agree now because you're getting outnumbered. Right, so the next layer we're going to go in with now from the stacked shape. So you've got your mats and layers. So these are the parts that you could use as apertures to cut into the card. You could use these just as mats and layers on top of your card. There's just so many different ways that you can actually mix and match these up. So we're going to pop this one down next. So on this one I've got, because you've got two different shades of pink in your perfect paper, so you can see I've gone from the dark and the light. Now we're going to stick it the right way round. So you've got there, so they're just the perfect shades. You can see that pink and the darker pink, they just work perfectly, so you don't have to think about anything. You don't need to think about mixing and matching them up or looking at different things. They just work really well. Now we're going to use the florals that we just cut out, so the daisies. We are going to use these. Now I've snipped into the flowers, okay, so you can see I've snipped away the bottom part, so I've just separated those, and then the exact same one with the tulips. I'm trying to see if I've got one I can show you. I've cut the bottom part away, so if I just pop that there so you can see. So I've just used my craft knife, and I've just like cut the handle off and then just snipped away for there. So I've just snipped the vase off, so I've got that there. Really easy. You've got the cut lines there, so it's not, you're not fussy cutting. You're just snipping away the little holders that are just holding everything into place. So you're not really going in and doing any fussy cutting or anything difficult. Now I've snipped this away because I want my teddy to sit there like that. And doesn't that just look like it was meant to be there? Like, look, like the little flowers, he just looks like that is where he was supposed to be. So I'm going to stick him down and then I'll show it to you. I'm going to stick a little bit of glue on the side and then a little bit on the front of his paw. And then he will just fit. Doesn't he just look like he was supposed to be there? It just fits perfectly, doesn't it? So never be afraid. You know, Carnation give us so much snippability, and never be afraid to go in and snip these away and add different bits into them. So we're going to go in with that. So this is going to sit right on the bottom of our card. Now, if I'd have left this as part of that, obviously I wouldn't have been able to tuck him in between those flowers. But also, if I pop that there, I'm kind of hiding the vase as well. So, and what I want to do is I just want to move this slightly over. So it's going to be like that. So you can still see a little bit of the vase, but the flowers are just slightly more over, so they're there. And then also, this is just going to tuck in with behind those flowers and build it up, so it just looks more. So this is going to sit. Right, how are we going to? Right, we're going to be speedy with this one because I'm going to have to move them. So I'm going to glue this side and just roughly place that there. So only gluing one side, because obviously only one side of this is touching the card, and then this. Oh no, I look at the teddy. So Bunny's just said that the teddy is going to be so good for different occasions because she doesn't look at it and instantly think baby. And I don't either. Like I first thought of like an antique-y looking bear when I looked at it. So I think it would be good for lots of different occasions, not just baby. It's his little like blushing cheeks and his little bow tie. So cute. Right, so we've popped those in. So the next thing we're going to do now is I'm going to add in some of the letters on the bottom. Now this is how those die cut out for you. And you have so much dimension on these because you can see they're like a stacked pack of envelopes of letters. Now I've gone in and I've cut another one out. So you can see that top one. And again, so easy because all you're doing is just snipping those corner bits that are sticking out, and then you've got another one again then. So don't be afraid to go in and do that either. And then from the baby's first as well, I've got the blanket and I've got the rattle. Now the blanket, you can see I've cut this in half. So that's how it comes, and I've cut it in half, okay? Now the reason I've done that is because we are going to glue this. So this bit is going to go behind there. And then this bit, which I should have done before, is going to go there like that. So I'm just making it longer. So it's still going to be there as my grounding element, but I'm just extending it. And then we're going to go in with our stack of envelopes, which I just think is so sweet because, again, they could be for, and do you know what I've just realised? Oh my word, I've left my matte layers off. What an absolute idiot. Okay, so what I was going to show you, it still looks pretty anyway, but what I was going to show you, the matte layers that you can add in, so you can see that will fit on there. But then the next ones, you can make them into apertures. So I just wanted to show you, you can use them. We'll pop them on another one. We won't, so we can show you. But you can make your own little windows. So you could pop a sentiment, even popping that on there actually still works. So you could pop that on there and you could pop your sentiments in. You can add different things in. So did I glue? Yes, I did glue that down. So let's add, I'm going to add another one there like that. And then I'm going to add in this rattle. And I'm going to add it on the bottom but there, so it looks as if it's just placed next to those books. So I'm going to pop that there like that. The rattle, it does look vintage. It looks like an old-fashioned rattle. And then we're going to add in, because I want to add some decoupage, because we've got a lot of decoupage for there now, adding those in. So I want to make the flowers, because obviously we've glued those flat against the cardstock. So I want these to stand up a bit. So we're going to go in with the decoupage of the flowers. So I'm going to go in with the tulips first. Let me just, got a blob of glue. Didn't want to come out. There. Right, so we're going to add these in. So I've got my pink one there. So you can add these in. Now there's nothing to stop you either adding these in separately. I know one of the demos I did yesterday, I was just tucking some of the decoupage in just behind where the foliage is as well. So you could add it in to make, you know, to add more flowers into your bouquet. So don't be afraid to go in and just add in as much or as little as you want. So add that one in there. And then we're going to go in with our daisies. So you can add that in there. Add this one up here. Oh, Joanne has messaged us saying that her collection's out for delivery. That's exciting. And she thinks it's a stunning collection. Stacey Lindsay has just messaged us on Facebook saying that she's just received hers. That, I mean, that's what you call fast delivery, isn't it? But we did say yesterday when we were doing the show, 9 times out of 10, we always get messages on the second day from people saying that theirs has either arrived or they're waiting for it to get delivered, which is just amazing. Now I'm going to add that in there just because I want a bit of pink. I feel like that space needs a little bit of pink. Now this bit is in Delivered Safely. Now I've used this in different ways. You can either use it, I'm just going to use this for an example, like that. So it's like, what are they called? I've just been calling them a pin. It's like the, yeah, like a placeholder flower pin. So you can either pop it on like that. Oh, a letter opener, you could use it like that. And then I've just been popping it in the flowers, or I've popped it in the tag and use it that way. So there's different ways that you can use them. You can either pop it on like that, or you can have a stand. It does hold it in, to be fair, without glue. And then you could use the envelope, so the little card die that you get, you could actually pop a little message in that if you cut that out. So there is different ways that you can actually use these. So it's going to be one of them that you'll just find a different way to use it. It'll just fit into where you want it to go. So I'm going to pop that on there like that. And then I'm going to pop some pin flare on the back of this. And I'm just going to tuck that there like that. And then, so we've got, oh, should I straighten it up? There you go. So we've got our card. So you can see how we've used the stack shapes, we've used delivered safely, we've used babies first for that one. So the only one I've left off, oh, and I've used eternal bloom. So the only one I haven't used there is capture the moment. So you can, they really do mix and match together so well. There's so many different ways of actually using these, but it's just, they're just really uplifted and cheery. Yeah, when you look at them, they just make you want to smile, don't they? So, but like I said, we are approaching 70% of the Beautiful Bundles collection has already gone. So it has been extremely popular with everybody at home. I think you're all enjoying it just as much as I am. So you can see there exactly what it is that you were getting. So it is on that show price for you of $99.99, but that will go back up at midnight on Friday. So if you do want to grab it at that price, get in there early. Plus you'll have your free P&P on that as well. So if you want to add in the perfect papers or your pro print, your everyday glue, your pin flare, you know, now I always add in, you know, like your essential things you don't really want to just order on its own and pay P&P on, you know, add those in. Plus you can spread the cost on the website as well, so it makes it that much easier too. So I'm just going to quickly go through the bows again so we can see exactly what it is that you're going to get in that collection. So to start off with, we've got Babies First, where you have the adorable teddy, and he's just like the perfect teddy for me. He's not too cute, it's not like a baby looking teddy, it's just an adorable image of a teddy. You have the rattle, you've got the blanket, and you've got the baby boots. I adore baby boots. I was saying yesterday, if there was something I could collect just for the sake of collecting, I would collect baby shoes. Like every time I go into a shop and you see baby shoes, you're just like, oh, they are so cute. Like they're like that big, and they are just so, they are the most cutest things ever. I could flat out just collect baby shoes. And then we've got Delivered Safely. So this is the one that I was just saying, you've got your score line in. So you could use it like a card. I'll have to try and find the one, the design team sample that's got it on used like a card. So you can use it like a card. I've got it. See, so you could use it like a little card onto your card if you want to. I love how they've put in the little bits there from the frame as well. Or you could use it like a play setting, so you could actually pop it into the pin. You could put like a little message in there, pop it on there, and then pop it onto the card. So then they can pull that off. There's just so many different ways of using it. These, again, they could pop your sentiments on, they can pop on there, and with your tag too. Then you've got your, I've been calling this a stamp. I'm sure there's probably a technical word for it. That will go onto your wax seal. And then you've got your stack of envelopes there tied up in your ribbon. Then we go on to our elemental blooms. So you get 3 different blooms in here. So this is the daffodil. You can see you've got your daffodil heads there to deck your page up as well. But you've got a lovely vase there placed on top, and you can see that you've got like one of the daffodil heads. Some of the petals, the leaves have fallen down, which I just think the attention to detail of making it look realistic is amazing. You do have the outside matte layers, so if you want to use these to actually make your card bases, you can absolutely do that, because they are big enough that you can use them just as their own. I know this isn't the daffodil one, but you can use them like that, just to give you an idea, to make your card base. Or you could go all out and use all 3 of them together. So that's just popping the 3 mats together, and how pretty is that? Really, really pretty. So you could use those completely on their own. So essentially, if we break it down, if you used this as a card base, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 card bases, 7 card shapes in this collection. Because you'll have the 3 flowers, you've got the capture the moment, and you've got the stacked shapes. If you use them all as a card shape, you could potentially make that many different cards from each one of these. Again, like this, so this is the one that I just showed you. This is the daisy. So you can see there how you could use that. Just the mats and layers, decoupage those up, and it is it's so impactful. I know that the frame is there, but even if I just took that away, that looks so pretty, just like that. Really, really impactful card. You've got your decoupage elements there, and again with those petals there on the book. I even love how it's just tilted ever so slightly to the side, but then you've got the tilt going back with the flowers, so it completely evens the image out, so you don't even have to worry about trying to balance everything out. Then you've got your tulips. I think this is probably my favourite one. I just love how the elegant the foliage is in the back. You've got your tulip heads there, and then you've got that beautiful vase. You've got your ribbon coming down on the handle. So much detail in there with those petals there on the bottom, and your tulip heads to build those up. Our stacked shapes. Now there's so many different ways that you can use these, and you can see again they are a lovely size shape on their own. This was the one that we just used, so you can see, I'm going to grab the one that I didn't stick down, that they will fit over. So you can see how you could use them for apertures. You could pop the apertures in there. There's just so many different ways of using them. Use them as a card base, use it as mat and layer on your card, cut them up into apertures, use them as frames. There's just so many ways. And this one, like when Dave looked at it, because when I looked at it, I thought of bubbles. I just thought it looked like a bubble. Do you know, like when you get those like bubbles together? So I said yesterday, I was like, oh, that would look so cute if you had like an image of like an animal in a bath, or like a baby in a bath or something like that, and you did it like bubbles. But as soon as I said that, the first thing Dave thought of was like a bottle of champagne, and those were the bubbles. And then we've got the squares. So like we said, they could be presents, they could be building blocks. There's just so many different ways of actually mixing and matching those up. And then we've got the capture the moment, which I absolutely love this one. I think this is going to be the most underrated one when you look at this collection, but I think it's going to be one that you're going to use so much. Because, I mean, look at that. Absolutely stunning. You've got those corner paths there to add into it. You can add those frames in. You've even got the frame mount in the middle, so it just frames everything absolutely perfectly. And you do get them in the large, and you have them in the small as well. So even if you want to use them like that to add on to your projects, you can do that, or use them to make little frames. You can see you've even got the back part there, so it looks like a proper frame that will stand up. So you could absolutely do that as well. But they just work so well and really easy to use too. So let me grab my other demo. While I'm grabbing that, I'm just going to pop them there so you can see we do have the Perfect Papers as well. So they are 250408, and they are on a show price of $14.99. You do have the P&P on that, but obviously if you adding that in with the bundle, then you are over your P&P mark, so you will get that free P&P with that anyway. So it's a great one to add in. And all of my demos, and you'll see all the design team samples as well, they've all used the Perfect Papers. Right, so we're going to go in with our card. Right, so this time we are going to make a 6x6 card, okay? Now I am going to be using one of the DL shapes on this. I might get away with not using it actually. We'll see. Right, so I'm going in with my perfect paper. So I've got this lovely, it's almost like a buttery cream colour. It's got an ever so slight tint of yellow into it, but it still looks more creamy. It's like, yeah, and then you've got the lighter one, which now I'm going to put them next. So you can see this one is a lot more of a cream colour, where you can see the yellow in this one a lot more now. So I'm mixing these two together, and I do have that same in the darker one in the dotted design. So that just brings the two together quite nicely. So I'm going to add this lighter one on top of that dotted one. And then let's raise this layer up from the back. So let's pop this on there. There it is. So all I've done now is got those two layers. And this is going to sit on there like that. So I've got that nice frame now around my card with that on there. Now I do have the mats and layers here for the DL. So, right, so I have already said, if you missed the start of the show, the DL card shapes, these were super popular yesterday and they did sell out. Now, I am still using them and we are still showing it to you because they are going to be on my Hobby Maker show tomorrow. So if you want to grab these, okay, Hobby Maker, they will be on Hobby Maker tomorrow, so you can grab them at 1 o'clock. I'll be on with these tomorrow. So stock dependent, you know, if they have been as popular as what they have been yesterday, they will probably sell out in the show tomorrow. If they don't, for whatever reason, I probably think that they will, then stock will come back to Carnation. Okay, so we are saying they're sold out for the minute, but we will have them on the Hobby Maker show tomorrow, and obviously, you know, hopefully Carnation will get them back in soon anyway. But for now, we are sold out. Right, and I'm using these as mats and layers as well. I'm not using them as my actual card base. I'm just going to use it as a mat and layer for my project anyway. So this is going to sit in the center of there. So I'm going to pop some foam tape on the back and raise this up. So let's do this. So I'm just creating a smaller space now that I can concentrate on. So I've got my mat and layer there from the DL, so that's going to sit there. And then I've obviously got that detail part on there, which is just so detailed. And that's the same colour on top of each other, and you can still see how detailed that is. So it's testimony to how detailed the dies are, that you can do colour on colour and they still look absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to quickly raise this up from that back one, so you have a point of difference there, and then pop that there like that. So we've got already a really pretty looking card, and all I'm using is the Perfect Papers, obviously with that DL. So we're going to go in now and bring in the Elemental Blooms. I really love this one. There's just something about it. And then we're adding it in, so you can see that when, you know, tomorrow I will go through them in a lot more detail. Obviously I'm not doing it now because they're not here. But the DL, the flowers in the DL match up with the flowers in the bouquet. So you can see I'm using the tulip with the tulips. So we're going to go in now, like I did on the last one. I'm doing a similar thing where I've cut. So I've obviously snipped into a couple of these. Like the last demo I showed you that I snipped the top bit off. So I've got the base from that, and I'm going to do the same thing when I'm going to pop him on there. It looks, they just look as if they were meant to be like that, even though you're going in and you're snipping into them. But he just looks as if he was just meant to be there. He just fits this perfectly. So we're going to go in and we're going to do that. So I'm going to add this in first so I can kind of gauge where everything is going. So we're going to add in let's add that in there. And then I'm going to pop this bit in there, and we're going to tuck him then so he looks as if he's sat on that bit there. And then we're going to add in our little booties. They are absolutely adorable. Adorable. Yeah, there's definitely something about baby boots. They're just so cute. Absolutely. To be fair though, I think it's the same with anything. Do you know if you, or if this might just be me, if you see a small version of something, you're like, oh, it's so cute. It's just, I don't know, there's just something, I don't know what it is. If it's small, then yeah, it's like, it's so cute. Now, I'm going to do the exact same thing. So like I said to you, there's nothing complicated when you go in and you cut any of the carnation dies, because you get so much of that detail in your cut that you're not fussy cutting, you're just snipping away those little bits that are holding those bits together, and you always get so much snippability with carnation that it's just, you get so much more out of them when you go in and you start snipping things out. So never be afraid. And obviously with carnation as well, or even if you do make a mistake, I can guarantee that you'll still be able to use what you cut out. But even if you do make a horrendous mistake that you think cannot be undone, which I promise you it probably can, all you've got to do is print out another sheet. You know, it's not like a paper kit where you've only got 4 of them or 5 of them. All you've got to do is just print out another one and you are good to go. So you're always going to be okay with carnation. So I'm just going to snip that last little petal, and you can see, look how quick I've done that. Absolutely comes away really easy. Now this bit I'm going to cut into that and around there. So I've cut that bit off because I'm going to use that separate. I'm going to flip it around so then I can have this one going in the opposite direction. So instead of it me being stuck and having it like that, I can flip it so it looks like I've used 2 separate dies on this. So I'm going to just tuck that there like that. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some decoupage in. So I'm going to add some little bits of decoupage just to raise little bits up. But I'm also, right, let me add this sentiment in first. Pop that there. Let's pop this sentiment on, because what I'm going to do is I'm also going to add in some of the decoupage of the tulip heads, but I'm going to add those in around to like fill it up more. So I just want to pop the sentiment on first, so I know then where those decoupage bits are going to sit. So let me just pop this on. So I've got, just to say, and I've done this in those same two colours that I've done the mats and layers in. So using those perfect papers, just snip those out. So I'm going to pop this bit there like that. And now I can gauge where I want those heads to, those tulip heads to go. So I can see, like, I've got a bit of a gap there. So I'm going to pop one under there like that. And then I can tuck one. So let me get a smaller one, because I do need to add a little bit of colour in there. I can lift this up. And I can pop that one in there like that. And then you can just add in. Now you can keep going with this and make this look as full, or you could add in as little as you want. You can just go in and just have, this to me is the fun bit, when you go in and you can just play around with the scenes. You can go in and add extra bits in. If you wanted to, you could go in and add some of the other florals in. So you don't have to stick, like I'm just sticking with these tulip ones. You don't have to stick with the tulips. You could go in and add different ones in if you want to. So you can just go in and just play around with them, snip into them, and just have fun creating with these. So I'm just going to add one more. Am I? No, I'm going to stay. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do, that little bit that I cut away, I want this to just go under there. So I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of glue on that. And that is going to just tuck there like that. And then we've got okay. So you can see we've used the eternal blooms, and we've used the babies first in there, and they're so pretty. I think the colours of these as well, they just work so well. Yes, I do. I've made so many cards the last 2 days. I was like, which one did I make? I just looked at the pile and I couldn't remember which one it was. There you go. So you can see how they come together. So you could really mix and match these up. And I love actually just like the different colours as well. Changes the look of them completely, and adding in those extra elements like delivered safely too. So you can see those are the cards that we've made in this show. So those are from the Beautiful Bundles collection, which is our brand new launch of the month. So this launched yesterday, and we are already approaching 70% of the stock of this has sold out and gone. So it has been super popular with the you crafters at home, which I'm glad, because I think this is so lovely. Now that is it for our first show. We are going to take a little break, so me and Vanny are going to go and grab a cup of coffee, and we will be back in 1 hour at 12 with some more demos from our Beautiful Bundles. So hopefully we will see you there.